Okay, we're going to do a quick review of determining a missing coordinate using the formula for slope. Okay, since slope is a pattern, remember the common differences that we talked about in Unit 2. It can be used to determine missing coordinates. Okay, you just label each element and place it into the correct spot on the formula and then solve. So let's real quickly remember that the slope formula is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay? And we're going to solve these two examples just to remember how to do this. Okay? So I have, in the first example, they've given me 2 points and the slope. The 2 points are 3, 5, and 4, r. And what that r means is that the y coordinate on the second point is unknown. Okay? So we're going to use the slope formula and substitute in 2 for m, because that's what the slope is that goes with my 2 points. And then just substitute in my values into my slope formula. y2 is r minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so I end up with 2 equals r minus 5 over 1. Okay, and I know that anytime I have a fraction over 1, I don't need to leave that denominator in there. So I end up with 2 equals r minus 5. All right, to solve for r, I just have to add 5 to both sides, and I get 7 equals r. Okay? One really nice thing about this type of problem is that you can always check your work and be sure that your answer is correct before moving on. So we're going to do that. And to check that, I just use my old slope formula, okay? And I'm going to substitute in my points using 7 for r, okay? So y2 is 7 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and I end up with m equals 7 minus 5 is 2, 4 minus 3 is 1, so my slope is 2, and that's exactly what I started out with, and that tells me that my answer of 7 equals r is correct. Okay, let's try it with the second one. The second one's a little bit more challenging. So I'm going to substitute in negative 1/2 equals 11 minus 7 over r minus 4. And this becomes negative 1/2 equals 4 over r minus 4. Now, from earlier math classes that you've taken, you know how to solve proportions. And you may have seen proportions that look like 2 fractions set equal to one another. In this case, we have 2 fractions that are equal to one another, and the only difference is that we have a variable within our fraction. But we can still solve it in the same way. And the way we solve that is by cross multiplying. Okay? So I'm going to multiply 2 times 4, which equals 8. I want to use the right color marker here. 2 times 4 equals 8. And then I'm going to multiply negative 1 times r minus 4. I always like to write it out so that I don't make any mistakes. When I distribute the negative 1, I end up with negative r plus 4. Okay? And I just subtract 4, and I end up with 4 equals r. I'm sorry, 4 equals negative r, And then we remember we can't leave our variable negative, so I'm just going to multiply both sides by -1, and I end up with -4 equals r. And I'm going to circle that answer so I know where it is. And then all I need to do is check my work. And I check my work by using the slope formula, m equals, and I'm going to substitute in -4 for r. Okay, so I have 11 minus 7 over -4 minus 4. Okay, 11 minus 7 is 4. -4 minus 4 is -8. And I end up with m equals -1/2. Okay, and that tells me that my answer is correct because that is the slope that I started with. Okay, so we don't need to be concerned about the fractions if we look at them as if they're proportions because we know how to solve them. I would like to do one more example. And I'm just going to make more space here. All right, and let's go ahead and do this second example on the top. You can do the first one on your own. So I substitute this into my slope formula, and m equals -1/3. Okay, and y2 is r minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so I end up with -1/3 equals r minus 6 over -9 minus a -12. Remember the leave, change rule? That's -9 plus a +12, which gives me 3. Okay, now I could cross multiply if I wanted to here, but there's an easier and faster way to do it. And what I'm going to do is multiply by the reciprocal of my 1/3 here. So I'm going to multiply by 3. Remember, that will undo your fraction. So if I multiply both sides by 3, I end up with -1 equals r minus 6. Okay? Then to solve for r, I just add 6. And I end up with 5 equals r. All right, to check my work, I just use my slope formula, substituting in 5 for r, and I end up with m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay? 5 minus 6 gives me -1. -9 minus a -12 ends up with 3. And I know that this answer is correct because I started with a slope of 1/3. So my missing value is 5 equals r. Okay, the other examples you can do on your own, and if you have questions about them, you can come see me. Hopefully everybody is now understanding how to find the missing coordinate given 2 points and the slope.